All right, good morning, everyone. Futures Brizio here. It is now 11:20 on Wednesday, February 19th. And just figured I'd make a quick video here. I'm trying to get in the habit of making these earlier in the session. I know it's kind of late now, being mid-morning, but figured I'd drop in here and just try to do one. And again, if you're not watching this live, it'll be posted on the YouTube channel uh, for later viewing. Um, so let's just talk about the markets and where we're at this morning. And as always, before we get started, make sure you smash that like button, ring the bell notification, leave any questions, comments down below. And again, if you're watching it live, feel free to jump in and say hi, ask any questions, etc. On the live stream. Okay? All right, so I guess we'll just start in futures since that's where we're at here. So interesting developments on the DAX. As you know from a lot of my videos recently, the DAX, along with many of the other indices, has just been pretty much going straight up as of late. And the DAX has just been on a tear. If we go to a 4-hour chart, you can see, really since I don't even know how far back this uptrend really started back in November, essentially. And you can see we've just been tearing to the upside ever since. Um, but if you look today, we've had two very big bearish 4-hour candles here. And we see prices now come down to what I guess you could consider a support area or just kind of a last pause area right here. I don't really like these kind of sideways pause areas. I like the more vertical areas like this one where price sharply pulls back and then goes, as opposed to these choppy areas, which these can really be kind of like retail traps right here, where you see all these equal lows, and sometimes price will come down and wick through here and pull people in to go short, and then it zooms back to the upside. But I did want to point it out because um, these two candles are very aggressive. I mean, look at the size of these bear candles. And if you look back at all the recent pullbacks, you really don't see that. The candles are much smaller. We did have this gap here. This was after the tariff talk by Trump a few weeks ago. We had this gap down at market open. But most of these pullbacks are very small, or the candles are small. So there's not a lot of momentum behind them. But we had these two big ones today. And you can see now where we're sitting here. If we drop like to the hourly chart, we kind of have broken through this level. This is the level that I had drawn in last night. We broke through here, tried to pull back, and now we have this small kind of doji candle setting up here. Bullish candle, but a doji candle below the level. So let's see what happens here. Whether we get this continuation to the downside, or whether this is going to be short-lived and all this is just kind of the market taking some a breather here, and we resume the uptrend. We just kind of flush out all the longs and then they push it back higher again. I don't know. Now, sometimes, as I mentioned, we have retail levels right here, these equal lows, and I know that's where I have this box drawn, but I do want to call attention, and this is a more minor level because this is only an hourly chart, but I do want to call attention to this level here, that we could see price breakthrough here again, pulling people short down into this level, and then it could reverse over here. Now, I don't know. I mean, this could be a reversal because, again, these 4-hour candles are pretty aggressive. Like I said, definitely the biggest we've seen since this uptrend's been intact, in terms of pullbacks. So this is kind of a critical time for the DAX right now in terms of where it's going to go from here. So if we see any kind of like retracement here and we fail to put in a new high, we put in a lower high and then start to move down again, that would be a pretty telltale sign that we're going lower. So we'll have to see. But either way, I've just, I'm going to put the DAX on the shelf right now and just kind of keep an eye on it because as long as we're kind of in this little zone, right here. I'm not really too interested. Now, again, if we get a nice substantial pullback here and we come up maybe at least 50% retracement level up into this area and we put in a clear lower high and then start to roll over again, that would be much more bearish. But just with this little, with this little break right here and everything, I probably want to see the market try to recover. Now, again, we could push further down, maybe into this zone down here before we see that pullback, and again, this would be an area maybe for people to breakout traders to start going short right from here, which may not be the best thing because, again, I still don't think the uptrend is voided, although it's definitely more in jeopardy just with the volume of these candles. I'm sure if I put a volume indicator, I'm not a big fan of that, but if I throw a volume indicator on here, you can see just with straight up volume that these are very high volume candles. These two bear candles, you can see how much volume was tied to these on this time frame, and so that is pretty telling that the volume was increasing. If we go down to the 1 hour chart, the volume increased as we pushed down here. So there was a lot of action here to push this lower, but again, the reason why I'm not a big fan of that is because that push down volume, yes, it could mean that there's a lot of selling momentum by the large traders that they want to push this thing lower, but it also could just be the large traders that are just trying to flush out long positions before they push higher. I mean, so they're the ones that move the market, right? So they could easily step in, push a lot of bearish volume down, and then eventually start to push it higher again. The key would be when it starts to go up again and it retraces, what's the volume then? Are we seeing low volume on the push back up? In which case that would be more suggestive that the bear volume was more important. If again we start to get a retracement and the volume stays low, meaning there's not a lot of large players behind that push up, that would be more telling. But just because we're seeing high volume going down doesn't necessarily mean we're reversing, because again, it is the large players that are causing this to push down, but it could just be again them just trying to flush out longs and try to get people in to go short here. So we'll see. But either way, the DAX is something I'll just be kind of watching and see what it does from here based on these zones. But I do think that we'll probably see at least another attempt to go back higher again, and that's where I'll become interested if that fails to make a new high and we turn over and start going back down again. All right, so plenty of opportunity here. If it decides the uptrend wants to resume, then fine, that's great too. And again, this thing has been going up for so long that eventually it's got to kind of take a break and start going down. But we'll see. All right, so that's that. On to live cattle. So live cattle looks like, to me, this is still potentially at some point setting up for a short. I did take a short this morning. I closed it at break even because right in here, as price made this high and we wicked out here on the 30-minute chart, on the shorter time frame, I went short like right here, and I ended up closing it because you can see what happened. Price kind of pushed down, and we were making higher lows and higher highs here on the 15-minute chart. So it looks like we're still in a at least a corrective mode here. I just took a chance that this blow off top here was gonna roll over and start going back down. So I did close the trade already. It was break even, so I didn't make anything, but I didn't lose anything either. It was a zero trade. So but again, just from a standpoint of market order flow, this area here is still kind of, the swing high I'm looking at. So we are pushing up here, but, at some point, if we get through here and start moving higher, then my bias will turn more bullish. But as long as we're moving on here, I'll just let this thing continue to drift higher. And obviously, probably won't be today, but at some point we might get another signal to go lower. But this thing can have pretty significant pullbacks, 78% pullbacks, and we're at probably about the 61.8 right now. So, all right, so I'll continue to watch cattle, but I've stepped aside from it for now. So, all right, so on to natural gas. So I did take another trade on NG. This one, actually, I took two. You can see them here on the chart. We had this one right here. This was a nice little trade. I got out when it pulled back. It did go up and make a new high, so I should have just held it. And then I tried to go in again here, and I got a little spooked when it seemed to be having trouble getting any higher. But it does appear it wants to keep going higher, but it seems to be a little bit more choppy and harder for it to get to move up from here. So I'm going to keep an eye on this. I still think it does have bullish momentum. But anyways, I did take about another 5% on this today on this trade, so that was nice. And we'll see what happens. But, we had this big bearish candle after it went up and made a new high. We had this big bearish pullback. Price seems to have found some footing and trying to go higher again. So, but I'm not sure. This could, like I was talking about with the DAX, we could, see this come up. If this puts in a lower high and then I start to see more bearish push, especially if it comes down and takes out this low right here, that would change my bias. I do think from a seasonal standpoint, natural gas should begin to back off since we're heading towards, the late part of winter. But I think the run up on this has a lot to do with the fact that here in the U.S., Trump has kind of opened up LNG shipments back to other countries, which the previous administration had halted. So therefore, that's going to drive demand and drive, more usage of gas, which could strain supplies a little bit. Not strain them, but, put more, move more supply and therefore, lower the inventories and price could go up. But I felt like I said yesterday, this was a really big run up, and I'm not sure how sustainable this is from a seasonal standpoint, but we'll see. So I'm out of it for now because, again, of this bearish price momentum after this high was put in. I don't know if this is going to be sustained or not. It is trying to go back up, but this could just be like a little bounce. And if we roll over and start taking out like these lows in here, then that might point to a bigger move, correction down. But I do have to maintain a bullish bias for now because we did put in a new high technically. It wasn't a smashing new high like this high compared to this one. It didn't really do much. It kind of blew off here, and then a big engulfing bearish candle, which is a little worrisome. So we'll watch natural gas, but for now I'm kind of cautious on taking any more longs on this one. So we talked about DAX. We talked about, the last one is copper. So I'm in a short in copper right now, but I'm probably going to close it. It's in a small profit right now, and you can see we're still kind of chopping around this area right here. I took a short just based on price moving up into this little 30-minute kind of swing. Let's see, go out a little bit on time frames. Yeah, so this was like the last swing high right here. So I took a short when price came back up towards that zone, but you can see it's having trouble really moving. I may hold it. But it's just that, this zone right here is acting as pretty strong support. I think there's a lot of buyers trying to step in right here and buy off of this zone. So that's why price is kind of having a hard time moving any lower off of here. So I may end up just closing this trade, but, we'll see over the next 15 minutes or so what it does. So like I said, it's in a small profit, but as you can see, but not by much. So, all right, so moving on to Forex. So GBP USD, we did have some news on that this morning and yesterday. So if we, let me just clean this chart up, take that off. Okay, so you can see that we did have this kind of range here, which it looks like maybe we've broken through. This is a 30-minute chart. We zoom out, well, the 4 hours, we'd have to zoom in on the chart here. Here's the 4 hour, but you can see we've kind of spiked through this zone, and I don't like seeing just wicks sitting here If we go down a little further, here's the 1 hour chart. It's an even better picture where again we have all these equal lows here, and price tried to break through. It did make, technically did make a new low, but then it closed right back inside the range. So I still consider this stuck inside the range. So until if and when, if we come down now, we like take out this low right here and start rolling over, then, you know, maybe at that point look for shorts. But for now, I still consider this inside the range because again, the 1 hour is a really good look at this, where we have all these lows sitting here. Prices reacted off this zone, and when it did try to go lower, it snapped right back. So, but again, doesn't mean it's going to turn and go up. We could just stay inside this range. But if it does come down and eventually decisively take out this low, then I may have more of a bearish bias on this. But for now, that's the way I'm looking at it. So is that, to me, it's still in a range. So I'm not trading this at all right now. Here's the 30-minute chart. And again, you know, you can see we broke through, did put in a new low, but it's trying to come back into the range. So again, if it comes back up inside the range and closes inside here, then I'd, again, consider it still in the range. If it comes up here, rolls over, and then goes down, takes out the low, then that may make me feel a bit more bearish about it. So we'll see. The Euro Yen, I am in a short position on this right now. Although it looks like that may be running out of steam for the day. I have a small profit running on that, so hard to get anything really going today, but I did take a short here on this on my funded account, which I'm probably going to close. But, you know, we are still putting in new lows here, so I think, you know, we probably can shift this maybe shift this swing point down to here now, you know, as our kind of our new swing high, although this is only a 30-minute chart, so this is not a great swing point because it's on a short time frame. But for now, I'm still basically bearish this, but we kind of run out of steam for the day on it. And Swiss yen, you know, again, on Swiss yen, we did make a new low here. So if I move this over, that's basically where we're at. And again, I'd like to see price pull back above the moving average. But I do think that we could continue to put in new lows here. Although, again, remember, we did come down and tag this area on the daily chart. So, but, you know, on the short time frame, we're still in bearish order flow. So I'd still be looking at pullbacks, you know, to above the moving average. There was a trade on this one earlier. I didn't take this one. This happened, I think, earlier this morning. This was back at, no, that actually, it was around the market open. But I just chose to take Euro Yen. They all looked about the same, but like I said, I'm not going to take multiple yen trades because it's just too much open risk, right? Because if one doesn't work out, they probably all won't. So I just chose to trade Euro Yen, but we pretty much had the same setup. And then dollar yen is pretty much the same, although you can see dollar yen is pulling back a lot stronger. And if we zoom out here, you know, it looks like this area right here is turning out to be, you know, a pretty important zone right here. So let's see what happens on dollar yen. But again, if we turn from here and come back up, maybe take out this area on the 4-hour chart, that would change my bias back to the upside. But for now, it's still bearish order flow, but you can see there's having definite reactions off of these lows down here. So that's why, you know, as I said in the video last night, I'm not trading dollar yen right now, just because of how the proximity of price to these strong zones. I thought maybe we'd push down back towards this daily low in here. Maybe we will still, but on the 4-hour, you can see there's a very active price zone right here too. But again, still bearish overall. You know, we still have this area up here on the 4-hour chart, you know, so these are just zones to watch. If price can come up and get through this zone right here, which was the last kind of swing high, then I think we'd make a run back towards this area. But if we can break through here and keep heading lower, then I think a good target is back near these daily lows down here. But we do seem to be kind of chopping around in here, so not a lot of direction on dollar yen right now. So at least for me on the time frames I'm looking at. Again, we did have this push down this morning, but you can see that's already reversed and pretty much come back to where it was this morning when we broke down right here. So we're pretty much back to that entry. So there's definitely a lot of buying going on at these levels, and so we'll see if we can get a snap run back through these highs here. Then we probably will head higher back towards at least this 4-hour zone that's sitting up here. So, but this is kind of like the swing high here on the 30-minute chart. So this is our kind of sub swing high on the 30-minute. This is our 4-hour zone up here, and then this is a kind of like a 4-hour support area, and then below that we've got these daily lows sitting down here. So just be aware of those areas on the chart just to help you manage where you're targeting entries and exits from. All right. So yeah, so that's about it, guys. I don't think there'll be anything else today. I think I do think that things will be kind of sideways the rest of the day. I'm not expecting to see any other entries today, but we'll see how things progress the rest of the week, and if there's any major change in these trends, then we certainly will keep an open mind and trade accordingly. So be safe. Watch your risk management, and just be aware of levels on the charts, no matter what time frame you're looking at, and just be careful. So looks like we could be in some transitional periods with a few of these markets, and so you don't want to get caught up in the froth of transition from one direction to the other. So just let things play out, and when you see a good opportunity, then you take it. So all right, so have a good rest of the day. I don't know if I'll make a video tonight unless something changes. This will kind of sustain for the rest of the day, but if anything changes this afternoon, I certainly will drop in tonight and post another one. All right, so have a good rest of the day, guys, and we'll talk to you all soon.